Well, wouldn't you know it, guys? It's another blustery day in the Rocky Mountains. Colorado. Commie, Colorado. What was it? I think another show brought this up, and I'd heard it before. I looked it up. Since Denver was such a loving sanctuary city, it went down that path. And since they've been flooded by almost, I think they're almost up there at 40,000 illegal immigrants now that they're taking care of, like babies, I guess. The hospitals have been overrun, and according to one article, I think it was a Fox News article, I'm not sure, but the illegals have racked up $130 million in medical charges. You think they have maybe a little problem there with the little excess legal immigrants being flooded into the city? And what gets me is, you know, so it sounds right now like I'm a right-winger, right? Because I'm evil, and I hate the poor little pregnant women and their babies for trying to seek asylum from those evil countries they're running from. They never talk about in the media, like, what are they running from? Like, you know, is it that bad really in their home countries, or they just see, you know, the grass is always greener on the other side of the incomplete Trump wall, right? Yeah, they don't really say what they're running from. And of course, they never bring up the fact that, you know, 80 to 90% of them are young military age men from God knows what countries, right? Like, this is not any longer, this is not just a South America issue. This is like the entire world flooding through our southern borders, you know, looking for asylum and free handouts, of course, right? Like, who wouldn't be if you're living in some crap hole like Somalia or something? And of course, the right, you know, I'm not a left or a righty. I'm sorry to break it to you. In this election, I tell you what, man, I am tempted, and I gotta look at. It's been so long since I voted, 2012 in a national election, Ron Paul. But I'm not sure if you have to be registered for any particular party in the state still to vote, because that's what originally, the very first time I ever registered for any party was just to vote for a real candidate in Ron Paul, 2008. And so I got to look into that, because you know what, if RFK Jr. continues to gather traction like he says he is, you know, he's already brought up the polls saying that he's the most favorable candidate in the race right now, and he's running against two of the most despised, most hated candidates, I guess, in the history of our presidential elections. So what does that tell you about, you know, how democratic is our quote-unquote democracy, guys? Constitutional republic, but everybody, and I mean everybody, even RFK Jr. calls it a democracy. Every time I hear that word come out of their mouth, oh man, it just makes my blood boil. If I had a blood pressure problem, if I ate a little worse, more red meat, I'd probably have a big problem on my hands, right? I'd be all red in the face like most political commentators out there. You know, good old boy, steak-eating Alex Jones types. Buffed up at the gym, puffing up their manliness. But yeah, I'd be tempted to vote for RFK at this point. I tell you what, I would be tempted. And I know he's not perfect. I'm gonna turn that off because that's probably really annoying, all that noise. Sorry about that. But it's cold, man. It's cold. I gotta have a little heat on now and then. A little luxury, little comfort, creature comforts for you guys, for myself. You know, I'm doing all this for you guys, right? But yeah, I mean, he's not perfect. He said some weird crap in the past, and he's not for everything that I stand for either. But I mean, man, it sure sounds pretty damn refreshing, doesn't he? Compares to the two children, front runners for both of the monopolistic duopoly that we have in the Republican and Democratic parties. So is the media just going to continue to, you know, I guess they don't care about, you know, any kind of credibility at this point, the fake news media, maintaining any like at least to any thinking, questioning adults out there, I guess they don't really care too much about maintaining any kind of, you know, professionalism or credibility. But are you going to deny the most popular candidate right now in the race, RFK Jr., running as the third party? Are you going to deny the American people the right, the freedom to vote for a different party other than the, you know, the controlled left-right paradigm? I highly doubt it. Oh, I'm drifting. Okay, my bad. This is, you know, one person criticized me for driving with a camera in my hand. This time it's just a phone, so it's not as bad. But and if you'll watch me while I'm driving, and it might irritate you that I'm never hardly looking at you while I'm talking, but I'm paying attention to the road ahead of me. Okay, so it's not like I'm sitting here going texting the whole time, trying to search for letters to type. Isn't that kind of a thing of the past anyway? Isn't it like voice to text and everything? I don't know, I'm not that tech savvy, but yeah, I'm tempted, guys, and I know I probably sound like a total sellout to some of you out there, the hardcore conservatives in my audience, but you know how I lean, guys. Come on. If RFK is and he sure sounds like to me, a classical liberal, trust me, he's about 10 times more pro-freedom, more pro-liberty, more of a patriot than either of the two front runners that we have, handpicked, by the way, propped up by the media, by the way, showered with endless publicity. What do you think they were doing this whole time with all the Trump trials, guys? It's endless free publicity. And I brought this up in the past, so I'll bring it up again. When Ron Paul's son, you know, had the audacity to run against the Don, he brought up the same thing. He's like, you know what, when he was asked about why he thinks Trump's so successful, why he's so popular, and Rand Paul said, well, you know what, when you have endless millions and billions of dollars of free publicity from the press, it's pretty easy to get ahead in the polls, isn't it? Because, trust me, my little stint in politics, you know, out of the precinct caucuses, almost went to the national caucus as a delegate for Ron Paul. One thing I learned is that name recognition, 9 times out of 10, will get your vote. It's that easy. And sure, a pretty face helps, right? Like Bubba Clinton, you know, all those women that voted for good old boy Clinton. Is that guy still alive? Man, that guy's looks like a Nosferatu, doesn't he, at this point? It's all bones. And he'll soon face his maker, trust me, for all of his crimes. But, yeah, so I don't really see there's much of any choice at this point. If, like I said, if RFK continues to gain traction, I'll cast a protest vote, right? I mean, if that alone, if it forces the media to cover an actual third choice for once in my lifetime, right? Now, I know there was like, you know, different instances in the past, third party runs, but they never really had a chance, did they, guys? They were never given any kind of street cred with the press, were they? They're just kind of scoffed at, laughed at. You know, here's your token third party if you want to waste your vote. But if RFK garners a substantial amount of the vote this election, I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm not that pie in the sky, but if he gathers a substantial demographic of voters that are pissed off enough, that are sick of the, you know, lesser of two evil, it's just at this point it's just WWF wrestling, right? I mean, the personality politics, you know, the name calling, you know, this juvenile way of carrying yourself when you're a candidate for the highest office of the land, that alone should like just kind of get on people's nerves, you'd think, right? If you really loved America, folks, and I know they like to redefine things lately, all these social media platforms like Twitter, X like to redefine what free speech is to mean freedom of reach, things like that. Now, you know, you got to be 100% gung-ho MAGA, you know, bow down and worship the golden idol of Trump, or you're not a true patriot, you're not a true American, right? So they're constantly redefining things. Anyway, I digress once again, don't I? I always digress. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of solutions, as I see it, to our American problem here, because the political system is so completely rigged, right? So completely controlled. There's so much money involved in national politics. Yes, I know I often criticize people for, you know, voting for the same insanity over and over again and expecting different results, but you still do have some power over local elections on the state level, right? So I'm not telling everybody never go out to vote, it's all, you know, all sucks, but just realize what you're up against, right? I mean, the Cary Lake sounds like a I don't know, like a country singer, doesn't she? But yeah, in Arizona over there, that alone, you know, first of all, shouldn't have surprised anybody. This is how the whorehouse in Washington has operated since day one. I've repeatedly said this, but you know, this is just how the whores in office operate. I mean, there's a reason why all these people who end up at the top of the dung pile are all a bunch of self-absorbed narcissists who just crave power and influence and privilege and attention, right? They got daddy problems. I don't know. Did Trump have a daddy? He probably did, right? Probably did have a daddy problem. His daddy was pretty big into real estate and making money, and probably not at home a lot. In any case, I'm not going to read too much into the psychology of Trump, but that's a whole book right there. But yeah, the Cary Lake thing. So she, and I listened to the audio several times now. There's been several shows, several people that covered it. Viva La Free covered it several times. I watched his shows about it. It's obvious to me, you know, politics is a dirty little game, isn't it? And it's obvious to me just from the way she phrased her words in that recording, Kari Lake. It's obvious she knew that she was going to plaster this all over the internet, right?
Where are we in 2 years if they steal the election again?
Listen to what you're saying. Why don't we do something about it? So that we the people can pick our...
What can we do?
I'm not willing to accept that. And I'm going to be the biggest pain in these people's ass. And go back and tell them that. I'm running, and I'm going to be the biggest pain in their ass. I am not going to let these people who hate our country tell me not to run. You should call them and tell them to get behind me.
Is there a number at which...
I can be bought.
Not be bought.
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No. 10 million, 20 million, 30, no. $1 billion, no. This is not about money. This is about our country. Did you think you would come in here and that I would be bought?
It's not being bought.
Yes, it is.
It's, I think,
It is being bought. No. They are trying to buy me out of running. And I don't want to make a deal with these kind of people. This is a hill worth dying on. I'm not, if they're going to steal the election to make me and our movement go away, I'm not letting him do that. I owe it to the people of Arizona.
So on her level, her little manipulation is she wanted obviously to make herself look good, sound good, like the real deal, anti-establishment, anti-deep state candidate running for office, right? And that's fine. I'm not saying, you know, this doesn't get this other guy, was he the chairman of the GOP in Arizona? Pretty sure I'm right about that. I forgot his name already, but he's pretty much a no-name. Yeah, it doesn't get this guy off the hook for what he did. Nobody is innocent, all right? Stop. I tweeted this out the other day. Stop turning politicians into saints, right? Because they'll always let you down, okay? They never act that way. They never act like saints once they're in office. But, so she, you know, it's obvious she knew she was recording the conversation. And there's a reason why she was recording the conversation, right? She had plans to plaster it all over the internet. and made herself into a star, right? Because what's the hottest brand going right now in politics? It's the MAGA, it's the Trump, it's the populist, anti-deep state outsider, the non-politician, right, supposedly. And so I'm not, other than that, I'm not going to read into her motives. I'm not saying she's a bad person, but she obviously buys into the left-right paradigm. Just if you listen to the way she speaks, she's talking to a guy who, I'm sorry if I forgot his name again, but he actually works for the Trump campaign. So, and this guy is in communication with guys out east, whatever that means, right? But Cary Lake seems to know who he's talking about, so I don't know why she hasn't put that out. She's afraid to, or she only wants to let on so much information.
I'm with Trump, okay? I want to work for the betterment of Arizona. I'm not going to let these people back in D.C. tell me not to run.
I'm telling you not to run.
I'm not going to pause for 2 years. The battle is now. I'm offended by whoever these people are that they're trying to buy me out of.
Well, you should be honored.
I'm offended that there's people back there who just don't give a shit about our country.
Do you understand, though? You should be honored. That means they know how powerful you are.
Well, I can tell them that.
If you weren't powerful, they wouldn't want to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Right? You should be. Very few people get this.
I know. I'm pissed that they don't care more about our country. It's all about the mighty dollar to them. And that's offensive.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
They want to get Trump so bad. They want him out so bad.
It's not about Trump. This isn't about Trump. It's about you.
Yeah, the back scratching. The guy brings up that Washington's a big back scratching club or whatever the heck.
It's just it's a back scratching club. That's all DC is. It's a big back scratching club. You're in no position to scratch anybody's back, and you've already made it known that if you get there, you're not going to scratch anybody's back. I don't scratch people's back. You know, I've been on the outs with a lot of people for a long time because I don't scratch backs. You know,
they all pat each other on the back. You know, they all look out for themselves. It's a big club, like George Carlin put it, and we're not in it. So wake the hell up, people. Why do you think somebody who's running for the president of the United States, who ends up on the debate stage, like a Vivek Ramaswamy, never before known, all of a sudden he gets catapulted onto the debate stage for the president of the United States? Why would you think somebody like that just came out of nowhere and didn't have any connections to get where he's at? And why do the media shower him with attention if they're really afraid of his message, right, guys? Because conspiracy has gone mainstream. The kings behind the curtain, like I like to call them, the ones who really run the show, the puppet act, whatever you want to call it, sock puppets, the political, on the world stage, they realize that there's going to be some SHIT going down here in this country, and people are going to have a lot of questions, and they're going to know something's not right? They're going to realize, and they probably already know from just monitoring Google searches and all these different social media platforms that were designed to data mine the hive mind of the population, right? The masses, the electorate. They know where people are at, what we're searching for, what our interests are, what we're diving into, you know, what our little, you know, if we got our little fingers, we got our little hands in the cookie jars. Well, Big Brother, Big Mother, Big Papa governments watching around the corner, seeing what we're doing, right? We think we can get away with searching for this or that conspiracy without being detected. It doesn't happen anymore, guys. They know everything about pretty much every one of us. If you're online, you know, if you're some pygmy in a forest somewhere, they probably don't know too much about what makes you tick, but they don't really care either, okay? Despite all the green, flowery talk. Everything is for their advantage. It's about control. It's about how can we convince these cattle, right? The biblical understanding of wolves and sheep. Okay, we're dealing with wolves. They're studying their prey. They want to hurt us in a certain direction. They want to hurt us all off a cliff. And once we head off that cliff, that's it, folks. That's it. You don't have any more means to resist the tyranny that they will happily institute as soon as all of our freedoms and our ability to resist through the legal process, and even, you know, self-defense, Second Amendment, right? They want to strip away every ability for the people to mount a substantial resistance to their tyranny, because this is what motivates tyrants, you know, for the millennia, right? The history of mankind. Tyrants have been motivated by ultimate power. They want to be bowed down before like gods, right? So when I see these videos like Trump, you know, I know people poke fun on the right, like, yeah, right, like Trump's a tyrant, right? Compares to this and that. On the left, they always, you know, you gotta compare yourself to the worst of the two evils. Like I say, the more you vote for the lesser of two evils, you know, the slimmer and slimmer, and the worse and worse your choices get over time. That's the whole point, right? Like, let's set the bar even lower this time, and then guess what? It's going to be even lower the next time, right? It's like Jack be limbo, Jack be quick. Eventually you can't go under the, what's it called, the pogo stick? Limbo stick? I don't know. It's a song. I get lost sometimes. Yeah, so our choices get more and more narrow. Things get more and more redefined. Our liberties get less and less. I mean, it's basically this slow noose around our neck. And we keep voting for the same, for our own destruction every year, right? Yeah, this video of Trump, I just brought this up and then almost forgot about it. Comparing basically Trump to some kind of like verses out of the book of Genesis or something like, in the beginning, God created Trump. And how Christians in particular cannot see this as just like blasphemy, right? I mean, you are not the son of God, Trump. I'm sorry. Sorry to break it to you. I know you get a little delusional on that little power trip up there on top of the world.
God had to have somebody willing to go into the den of vipers, call out the fake news for their tongues as sharp as a serpent's. The poison of vipers is on their lips, and yet stop. So God made Trump. God said, I need somebody who will be strong and courageous, who will not be afraid or terrified of the wolves when they attack, a man who cares for the flock, a shepherd to mankind who won't ever leave nor forsake them. I need the most diligent worker to follow the path and remain strong in faith and know the belief of God and country, somebody who's willing to drill, bring back manufacturing and American jobs, farm the lands, secure our borders, build our military, fight the system all day, and finish a hard week's work by attending church on Sunday. And then his oldest son turns and says, Dad, let's make America great again. Dad, let's build back a country to be the envy of the world again. So God made Trump.
Again, this is the type of people that they handpicked because they're easy to control, right? You get them blackmailed. You tell them they're gonna take away everything they love in this world, and trust me, they love this world. Friendship with the world is enmity with God, and the people who make it into high office, 9.9% out of, I mean, does that make sense? 90.99%. 99.99% of the time, the people who make it into political office are in love with this world. God is the furthest thing from their minds. But according to this little clip that was posted out, actually, I think it was originally on Truth Social, Trump's own platform, posted by Trump himself, guys. Okay, so this is not like so-and-so trying to make Trump look bad. This is literally from the horse's mouth. Trump posted this video of himself, sounding like he was sent down from heaven to save humanity, basically. It's sickening, guys. It's sickening. Okay, you're freaking, your delusional narcissism, self-aggrandizement is sickening, Trump. And it's almost like what I think in my mind is just, you know, drawing from history. It's almost like, are you trying to put this guy in the place of a Caesar, where you have to be God/man in order to rule over the angry peasants, right? Populace. Yeah, do you have to be a God-man in this day and age in America? Do you have to be linked directly to the Almighty, in direct communication with God Almighty, in order to garner enough votes from the religious right these days? That's scary, okay? Now, we do want moral people, which I don't see really Trump qualifying for that either. But we do want really moral, like John Adams puts it. You know, I love this quote. It always pops up in my mind. I know I repeat it often, but sometimes you got to do that with propaganda for it to sink in, right? John Adams, you need a moral and religious people for our constitutional system to function correctly, right? Otherwise, it will fall apart. And we'll be ruled over by petty tyrants. And we'll be demanding from those tyrants that our freedoms and liberties get stripped away to keep us safe from imaginary fears, from imaginary threats, right? Problem, reaction, solution. The government, the ones who always have the solution, are the ones who created the problem in the first place. But in any case, I know I'm drawing on. It'll be an interesting year. I'll leave it at that. I don't know where things are headed with the crisis at the border. You know, I brought up the crisis in Denver. I plan on actually heading over to Denver soon, hopefully. And I'm kind of curious just to videotape what the hell is going on over there in Denver, because there's these refugee camps, and there's, you know, tent cities everywhere, and homeless, and they're converting hotels now into. It's got to be. It's not just for the immigrants. It's not just for the homeless. It's for the LGBTQ also. These little apartment complexes. You can't leave out the LGBTQ guys, okay? Because we're loving, blue-tarded Colorado now. All right. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to go check it out myself, kind of boots on the ground, what it looks like in Denver these days. It's been a long time since I've been to Denver. Actually, I've really had no need. I go to the airport now and then to pick up my sister when she's visiting from Arizona, but that's about it. You don't really go through Denver to go to the airport. DIA. The Devil's Airport. Yes, I have a few videos. If you haven't seen them, I've got a few videos of my time at the DIA. Hanging out with old Lucifer and everything, the big devil horse. But, so yeah, that's on my itinerary. Tentatively on my itinerary. Go visit Denver here before too long. And other than that, yeah, I hope to get some more podcasts out soon. The crisis thing at the border is insane. I'm not sure where that's headed. Was it? They have some 20-some states now that are supposedly standing with Texas, whatever that means. The thing that gets me, the irony, is how people online, how quickly, how desperately they elect a new hero. And this Greg Abbott guy is the latest in a long line of failed would-be superheroes. Because Greg Abbott, the guy is, for one thing, he's a proud card-carrying member of the WEF, World Economic Forum. For another thing, though, this guy for months now, one of the reasons why we have a crisis here in Denver is because we have states like Abbott in Texas busing them all by the thousands into every major city across the country. And how does that not just fulfill the agenda of sowing chaos? How does that solve the problem, Abbott, right? I mean, how about you bus them back to their own countries instead of busing them all over our country? Yeah, giving them a free bus ride to whatever city in the Union, whatever state in the Union, and knowing full well that these people are never going to be deported recorded, right? They're never going to round up. What was it? One estimation was like, man, what was it? 20-some million, supposedly, illegals living in this country right now. That's one estimate that I heard. 20-some million illegal immigrants in America right now. You think they're ever going to round up all those people? Yeah, it's never going to happen. But Abbott, you're just, you know, with this, I can think of no better example of controlled opposition. When you have Abbott saying, I'm going to get back at those Democrats. You know what I'm going to do? I got a bright idea. I'm going to ship them all over the country to every major city in the country to wreck that economy. That's going to fix it. That's going to fix those Democrats and their wily ways, right? I mean, that's just like something straight out of the George W. Bush make-believe cowboy playbook right there. I don't know. How does that fix anything? How does that not contribute to the problem? But he did, I think it was a year ago now, I read an article, maybe there's something more recent. It's from 2022, I think. A couple years now. Year and a half. Supposedly, Greg Abbott was going to start investigating some of these nonprofit 501c3 organizations, like I often bring up, Catholic Charities, and their role in doing basically what he's been doing, is busing them as soon as they cross the border, busing them to different areas and putting them on plane flights to different areas across the country. Yeah, again, it's kind of ironic, right? Like, why would you be investigating these charitable organizations for doing the exact same thing that you're doing? In any case, but yeah, there's a bigger picture, guys. Like, not too many people ask the question, you know, how did all these people get to our border in the first place from way down South America somewhere? They didn't walk that whole way, guys. Okay, they've been bussed in by these different groups with their different agendas, you know, and the Catholic Charities. Who do you think they're following other than Papa, the Pope, you know, the Grand Poobah? And what has happened in Europe, the same exact thing. And the Pope has been, and the Catholic Church has been instrumental in promoting mass immigration throughout Europe as well, and criticizing and condemning, you know, giving everybody a guilt trip just for trying to stand up for their own national sovereignty, if you have any, I guess, in Europe anymore. Part of the big EU. I don't know if we have any national sovereignty left, but yeah, you're evil, you're unloving. It's the same crap here. You're a racist if you don't want a bunch of people flooding into your country, you know, squatting in your streets, that come from a completely ass backwards culture. They're not very easily assimilatable, right? But in any case, yeah, so it's this big cluster, and is it going to result in, you know, civil war's been trending on Twitter? Is it going to go that far? Are we going to see some kind of a stand like blowhards like Alex Jones are bragging about how this is going to lead to some kind of standoff with the feds? I don't know. You know, is it in the globalist best interest to further divide this nation, to you know, dissolve us all into some kind of like a tribalistic, like an African country, right? We got all these factions and tribes constantly warring with each other. Maybe that's part of the agenda. You know, maybe they want to dissolve the Union. You know, there's that movie coming out. I think it is called Civil War, isn't it? Is that interesting? Where you have these different factions, different states, this predictive programming again. Like Texas and California gang up together. And some people are like, man, that's the furthest thing from that you can imagine. Why would Texas and California ever get together? Well, as one person brought up, yeah, they have one commonality. It's the border. They share the border with Mexico. And if you're getting flooded by a bunch of cartel gangbangers, total chaos, you know, anarchy, shootings, violence, if you know, just all hell unfolds, is unleashed in this country, I could, it's not too far to fathom, like in this fictional movie, the Civil War.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. Bloody.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
Move, move, move!
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
Yeah, it's not too hard to fathom. You might see some pretty strange unions, factions, especially if there's, you know, just total. If the union is being dissolved and the states are infighting, there's gonna be some crazy stuff going on, folks. But who knows? You know, who knows if any of this gets fulfilled, you know, before the close of God's probation for this earth. There's a lot of speculation out there right now. There's a million different voices, all claiming to be, you know, basically the voice of God. God told me this, God told me that. The surest foundation we have, this is what I've found anyway, as a Bible-believing Christian, is the Word of God. And that is the light into our path in these dark times. So, encourage everybody. I'm almost here. I gotta figure out where I'm going. I got a dental appointment. Guess what? Yeah, I never let you in on this fun little bit of information here, but I might have to get a tooth extracted today. The day has finally come. I'm hoping that they can save it, that they can give me a root canal. Either way, I mean, it's not gonna be fun. It's not a fun day for me. But yeah, it's had a tooth break, upper far back tooth, and it's all the way down to the gum, so I'm not even sure if it's salvageable at this point. But yeah, I'm almost at my destination, so I gotta check the map. But maybe I'll check in after the appointment. That'd be kind of funny. See if I can even talk at that point. Yeah, in any case, God bless everybody. This is Nightwatch N8. I don't know why I'm sitting here at a stoplight with no lights, but that's what happens when you're looking at a phone and trying to gather your thoughts at the same time. Only do so many things at the same time. God bless everybody. In any case, I'll get back with you shortly. Appreciate all my viewers, all the support over the years, and stay frosty, folks. Get right with God time, because time is short and things are wrapping up on the earth stage pretty quickly here. We have some interesting times ahead of us. Strange days. Whew! Well, praise God, folks. Praise God. A lady who looked at my teeth, for one thing, they wanted to try to, I swear, every time I go to a dentist, I hate dentists. Did I ever tell you that? I don't know anybody that enjoys going to a dentist. Could you imagine working at a job where all your customers dread just being there every day? It's gotta be kind of anxiety prone, those dentists and those dental assistants and everything else. in any case, they try to put me through this panoramic x-ray. Even though I went in, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and got all the bite wing x-rays. A little more focus. I try to avoid any kind of radiation. The last dentist that I went to, I think I hyped him up in my last rant. He looks just like Mr. Rogers, Aaron Rodgers, quarterback. He gets told this all the time. He told me to. But, and he's in conspiracy channels on YouTube. So there you go. But, one reason I went there is because they said over the phone, they're like, yeah, we don't even deal with mercury fillings. And so I try to limit my exposure as much as I can to mercury and radiation, all those other things that mainline articles will tell you are good for you, healthy, right? Yeah, it's like a way of supplementing your diet. Just ingest a little mercury every year during the flu season, right, guys? Different adjuvants. But yeah, I swear they always try the pressure tactics, you know, because I'm sure they're making pretty good money off every x-ray that they take of people. So they tried to get me into the panoramic x-ray machine, and I'm like, nope, not doing it. Like, literally scan your entire nasal cavity, your entire skull. Just gets bathed in radiation. It's like, no thanks. But so I had the other place send over pictures, even though they sent blurry pictures, so that wasn't very helpful. But she told me that there's a good chance that this big old crack in the side of my tooth here can be just fixed with a filling, albeit maybe temporary until that breaks off, and then might have to go the root canal route. So that was like this huge, you can see my hairs lifting off the top of my head, huge weight off my shoulders, because I was going in there today expecting to get, that's right, the old pliers taken out and a tooth yanked out of my freaking skull. So that's a plus. That's a plus, guys. Weight off my shoulders. And but they did tell me that particular tooth, you know, it's one of those major chewing teeth that you use all the time. And the government, of course, is so loving that they don't cover it with Medicaid. I'm on Medicaid right now. So they won't cover a root canal for that particular tooth. And so it will end up being, if I have to go that route eventually here, about $1,500 to have a root canal done on that tooth. And that's what I paid the last time I got a root canal. It ended up being like $2,000. And it's not really the kind of money I have to throw around right now. In any case, that is a huge blessing to start the weekend out with. Nightwatch N8 does not have to get us another tooth pulled today. So, praise God. Thankfully, we have some nice dentists here in Fort Collins that are willing to work with you, work around your little peculiarities, right? Like not wanting to have brain tumors at the age of 50 or 60, radiation exposure, mercury, and all that. Just wanted to let you all know so you're not left hanging, stressing out over little old me. So yeah, I'll be going back in another couple weeks, and hopefully the Aaron Rodgers guy will do a filling for me. Otherwise, I'll have this other lady do a filling, and that is actually covered through Medicaid. So you live and learn all these little details, fun joys of getting old, right, guys? And yes, I don't have very good teeth. I never have. I do have a little bit of a sweet tooth, but I've gotten better. So yeah, I'm trying, guys. Trying to get better in my old age, a little wiser, bit by bit, piece by piece. Anyway, God bless everybody once again. This is Nightwatch N8. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry for rambling and jambling, frambling for so long. I'm just making up words at this point. Just be obnoxious. But have a great weekend. This is Nightwatch N8. God bless. Stay frosty. Keep in touch. Let me know in the comments section if you got any ideas you want to share. Questions, comments, disagreements, I don't care. And like, if you could, please guys, just like my videos. It's not that hard. And subscribe if you haven't. Hit all notifications. I've gotten a few new subscribers lately, thanks to one little short that kicked off, so I'm gonna have to do more of those. I gotta get better at talking quicker, fitting everything into 1 minute though, right? Not easy for me. Anyway, God bless once again. This is Nightwatch N8. Until next time, signing out.
to remember back. It may like to gamble, it may like to dance. It may be the heavyweight champion of the world. It may be a socialite with a long string of pearls, but you'll have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed, serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, or it may be the Lord, but you'll have to serve somebody. Might be rock and roll Eddie prancing on his stage. Murder drugs in your pocket, women in a cage. You may be some businessman or some high-degree thief. They may call you doctor, they may call you chief, but you'll have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed, serve somebody. Well, it may be the devil, or it may be the Lord, but you'll have to serve somebody. There may be a construction worker working on a home. Maybe living in a mansion. You may be living in a dome. You may own guns. You may even own tanks. You may be somebody's landlord. Maybe even own banks. But you'll have to serve somebody. Maybe a preacher with a spiritual pride.